Hi, I'm Lisa Hayden with Channel 6, Central Kentucky TV, community focus on Washington County. We are happy to have with us today our new Chief of Police, Joe Templeman. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And welcome to the program.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Well, you know, Joe, Chief, as I need to get used to calling you.
Joe is still fine. Everybody knows me by Joe, so.
Well, of course, you know, it's nice to be called Chief. That's your formal title. And now we had on Channel 6 our outgoing chief who retired, Jim Smith. And then so you acted as the interim chief for a little while.
Yeah, almost 5 months, I think, almost 6 months.
Okay. And then you were appointed at our December city council meeting.
Yes.
And voted on, and then officially sworn in at our January meeting.
Yes.
When all your family came.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, Chief, how long have you been on the Springfield Police Department?
I started here in 2015. I think it was June. I worked for Lexington Police before that. And my wife's family's from Marion, Washington County, Spaldings.
Related to everybody in the county?
Yeah, there's
in 2 counties.
Yeah, there's 6,000 of them, I'm sure. But,
So you came here from the Lexington Police Department.
Right.
And of course, obviously, they're very supportive of you because they came to your swearing in ceremony.
Yeah, they showed up and really gave me a surprise. Some of my former supervisors, co-workers, and my whole squad that I worked with when I worked patrol was there. It was really nice to see them, and also all my family and friends. And actually, the chief at the first department I started worked for in Flemingsburg, he showed up, and he's since retired.
And he was the chief at the Flemingsburg
in Eastern Kentucky
City Police. Yeah. And so, how long has your career been in police?
This is my 11th year. I started when I was 21. It's pretty much this job. I grew up doing this job, and this job grew me up. and you grew up. How is that now? You grew up doing this job. I mean, I was 21, and
now prior to that, you graduated high school where?
At Round County in 2005.
Okay, so were you living in Flemingsburg?
I was living in Moorhead, and my wife and I had just got married, and right after I got out of the academy, we got married and we built our first house, and that was right outside of Moorhead.
Oh, okay. And that's where you all met was?
We went to college together at Moorhead.
Okay. And so, but she was from this area.
Right.
So ultimately, she wanted to get back to this area.
Yeah, we ended up going to Lexington to try to split the difference between Moorhead and here, and I stayed there for a while, and then we found a place here, and ended up moving back here where she's from, and I drove it for about a year, and
back and forth to Lexington.
Right, and I kind of got sick of the drive. I was working in the robbery homicide unit then in Lexington, and
in the what?
Robbery homicide unit. Robbery
and the homicide.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was just going back and forth all the time, and it was by the time I had to leave 2 hours before work started because I had to switch cars and get ready, and
wow.
I ended up hearing about an opening here at the police department, and I talked to Jim Smith, who was the chief then, and I ended up just lateral transferring over to here.
And that was 5 years ago.
And that was almost 5 years ago.
Like yesterday,
so
Joe.
I know it does. It sure does, and it's been an excellent experience. I love it here. This feels more like my hometown than my hometown. I tell a lot of people that. Just Springfield's been so welcoming to me. Even me as an outsider coming in, moving where my wife's family's from, it's really opened a lot of doors for me to. I started out as a patrolman with the police department, and then was promoted to sergeant, then captain, then assistant chief, and Jim Smith retired, and
That opened up the chief's position.
and it's really been a blessing in the works for me. So.
Yeah, and so your wife now,
Megan. Yeah.
She was a Spalding, and grew up in Marion County.
Well, her mom is a Spalding. Her mom married a Hullemeyer, which they're from northern Kentucky. So she went to high school where her dad's from, and then after she graduated high school, they moved back home too. Her mom had moved back home.
Okay.
So everything's
to Marion County.
Right. They're on the county line,
on the county line,
St. Rose area. But
in the St. Rose area, yeah. Her parents are.
Elaine.
You said Elaine.
Yeah.
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 And then, so when you came here, now you had at the time. Did you have your little boy?
No, he's two. He's 2 right now. We had him in 2017.
Okay.
And he was a blessing too. We didn't think we were ever going to have a child. We'd been married I think 8 years at the time, and I think it was a week before we were supposed to start doing some testing. We found out we were pregnant with him. So.
Oh. And now you've got 2.
And we just had. She's 2. I think it's been 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. We had Ava, so she 2 weeks Saturday.
Oh gosh.
And she's doing really good. And her big brother's real protective of her, so.
Well.
Taking after me, I think. But he loves police. Anything police. I had to make him his own belt. I cut down an old leather belt I used to have and made him his own minigun belt.
Oh.
So he's got to put it on, and he says he's going to work all the time. So. And I tell him all the time, I said, it's not really work, it's more of a lifestyle, so, which is what I've always considered this job anyways. You don't really consider it work, it's more of a lifestyle, because everything you do, even your personal life, your home life, and work life have to all you have to remain professional for all of it. And that's why I really never say it's work, it's just I'm going in.
It's a part of your everyday existence.
Right.
24/7.
Mm-hmm. 24/7.
Because and as a chief now, makes it even more so 24/7, Joe.
Exactly.
I mean, you.
And I live here in town, and I know a lot of people in town it's not uncommon. I get people knock on my door or call me and say there's something suspicious over here, or one of my guys will call me for backup for help, and I come out and I roam the streets at night when I walk, and I consider me going out for a walk or a jog for exercise also patrol too, because 90% of the time I'll see something
that you
I normally
check
wouldn't
into.
Exactly. So
now Chief, we can't have you getting burned out. So I know you're young and energetic and of course enjoy. I know that you really enjoy what you do and helping people and making sure our community is safe. Mm-hmm. So I certainly appreciate that, and I know the citizens of Springfield do too.
Yeah.
However, now I don't want you to be. I might have to counsel you.
That's why I say it's a lifestyle. You take your moments, and I do. I love spending time with my family.
Yeah. And you need to make time for them.
And we do. This has really helped a lot too. Being able to realize where I need to be and what times I need to be places too has really helped us at home a lot too.
Okay.
But I love spending time with my family. I play guitar.
Okay.
I used to be a drummer. Don't have drums anymore since we had kids. And now we live in town, so I probably wouldn't have happy neighbors if I played drums every.
You have someone calling the police saying someone's disturbing the peace.
I know, so I try to keep it down. I just play acoustic guitar now, and my son loves watching, and he's even starting to strum along with me and stuff. And he's like I said, he's 2. So, but.
Are you in a band or?
No, I did it one time, and I just like sitting at home on the couch playing, and I ride motorcycles. And a lot of that's just my get away from get away from it all, get on my motorcycle, and I'll just ride. So.
Does your wife ride on there?
She
with
used
you?
to. She won't anymore. Since we had kids, she said no more. So.
Well, I mean, my husband had a motorcycle, and I always enjoyed riding on it, and I like those too. But you do have to be careful on them,
That's
don't
exactly
you?
right.
Because my goodness,
Yep.
it's not you. Don't worry about yourself. It's the other people you have to worry about.
Yep.
So
I always try to make eye contact with any cars I'm crossing. I mean, that's kind of one of the things I tell people a lot too. If they say, how do you watch for other cars? I always try to make eye contact. If I'm coming through an intersection or whatever, a lot of times you can't make eye contact, but if you're at least looking at the person's face, you may be able to judge the reaction of what they're going to do. But,
yeah, well, that's a good idea. And so then, being the chief now, I know that you have also had some ideas on things that you want to implement, and I'd like to hear a little bit about that.
yeah. The first thing I did, which you know about that, was I started working on the policy manual, and I spent probably 4 months working on and updating the policy manual, and going along with the Kentucky law enforcement guidelines for what they recommend us to have. For an agency our size, we got about 10 officers, and the next thing I wanted to work on was retaining the quality of the good staff that we have, and keeping them here, and that goes along with my main goal of being community oriented with the community. We're a small enough town where everybody should know us all, and like I said, a lot of people know me by first name. And I know them by first name, and a small enough community, we all take care of each other, like Springfield. And this is most of the officers live in Springfield, and they call it home too. So we care about this community.
Yeah, that's really important in my opinion too. And I think it's really good when the citizens here know their police officers.
Right.
And particularly the chief, yeah.
Right, and and I have an open door policy, and I tell people all the time, stop up, sit down with me, talk. We'll have a cup of coffee, and anybody that has any problems, whether it be neighborhood problems, they got family member problems, a friend, anybody that's even maybe got an addiction, to come see me. And we'll sit down and have a cup of coffee. We'll figure out what to do, or if you do have an addiction, come see me or one of the officers. And we'll get you help. If you just bought drugs and you're trying not to use them, bring them to us, no charges, and we'll try to get you the best help we can.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to come to us and bring us the drugs. Say, I just bought this. I don't want to do it. I need help, and we're willing to help you, and not charge you with the drugs because
you're bringing them in.
Right.
Yeah.
And
well, that's wonderful.
And we focus on the people that are dealing too. That's one of the main things when I was just taking over as an interim chief, was we wanted to end some of the major drug dealing that was going on in our town, and we did so in the first couple months.
I'd say a lot of people don't even realize that's going on,
Right.
Chief, but that is a big problem in our community, and in all communities.
Right.
So we're not immune from it.
Right.
And so you've been working on getting prosecuting or arresting the drug dealers.
Arresting the dealers, and if possible, taking them federal too, to get more time on the dealers. I want to help the people that are addicted, but if you're dealing, then you're going to have you're probably going to see us, and we've probably been watching.
Yeah.
They're going to see us, and we've probably been watching. Is more.
I see.
More and less what it is.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But and also,
so you're focusing on that, and
right.
that is very important. That's very good.
Right. And we also focus a lot on the community in itself too, helping, and helping people when they need help. We do the Shop with a Cop program, which Jim Smith and I we did that together, and I'm not sure if he started that or we did it before, but most departments in the state do that. But we actually have all of our officers get out, and we do a roadblock in the street. And this year we collected, I think it was close to $5,000.
Yeah.
And that was just from getting the word out, and all the officers going places telling people about it. And many businesses donated $500 to $1,000. Around the community. So, it's really nice to see all the communities that care and willing to give what they can to help this.
And you helped not only you selected a family, or I think was it two families?
Sometimes we'll select two or one large family. The last one was a single mother with 5 kids.
Okay.
And they were able to go out and pick out what they wanted for Christmas, and most of the time we let them pick out something for their parents. Because most of the time they may not be able to buy something for their parents if they want to.
Yeah, and these are families that you all have gotten to know somehow, and and want to be supportive of them, and I guess help people recognize that the police are your friends, not your enemies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, and we spend as much time as we can in the schools. And I've got Officer Bowen, the school resource officer. Him and I actually worked together in Lexington, and he retired and came down here, which he lives right outside of Washington County on the county line. But I think that's been a big help too in finding which families may need something.
Because he can see that.
Right,
with kids
and we work in close with the schools too, and a lot of times they'll call and say, because usually after we do the collection, I get gift cards with what's left, and we'll go out and give to either elderly or people that may need, gift cards to go grocery shopping, or maybe they want gift cards to get something for their grandkids, or maybe it was a family that we weren't able to get in to go shopping with us, but we may be able to still help them out with the gift cards. And I think I put a post on our Facebook page that we had a few gift cards left, and they were gone in the first. I think the first couple hours, A lot of people would either message us on Facebook and said they weren't able to get out, so either I drove out or one of our officers drove out and handed that out. But it's, we try to let our community know that we're not here just to enforce laws. We're here to help people.
Yeah.
We and protect. But, one thing I've always seen, or one thing I've always thought is, when I ask myself, what does a police officer do? A police officer helps people. And I think that's the way most of our department sees it, is we're here to help. And, and that may be, too, pulling somebody over because they're speeding. I've seen one of my friends get killed in a collision here in town. We responded to that, and that wasn't because of speed, but just whenever, when you have such a small community, you may stop somebody for speeding, you may stop somebody for running a stop sign, but that's to say, hey, we're doing this to help in the long run.
Exactly, to protect others.
Right.
And so, and also, I think you've wanted to, besides the Shop with the Cop program, there are some other things I know you've mentioned that you're wanting to do. Was it patrols on the streets or something you were talking?
Yeah, we do foot patrol as much as we can. I like to see the officers out of the car talking to people, and I think that makes an officer more approachable than if you're just sitting in the car.
Right.
And even in the neighborhoods, park your car on a neighborhood street, get out and walk a little bit, and somebody may flag you down and tell you something that they would never said if they just seen you driving by.
Right.
And plus, that's the best way to let people get to know you.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's what you see, in the movies, in the old days.
Yep.
You see the cop walking the beat, with that stick thing,
Yeah,
you know.
that was, yeah.
And but they were socializing with
right.
the people on the street.
And it did do a lot of good too. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's just what people,
Yeah.
you know, that's the way they get to know you. What other
Exactly.
way they may see you and know who you are just by driving by, could recognize a face, but if you actually, you know, stop and greet people, talk to them,
Yeah.
I think that helps.
So that's
helps a lot
something you're emphasizing.
to go a long, to go a long way.
Yeah.
You know, as much as we can. We're down a few officers right now, but we're getting ready to start interviews and the hiring process for 2 more.
Is it 2 more?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Did
Yeah.
we lose somebody?
When Chief Smith retired, and then
Right.
we have one leave and go to Simpsonville.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So 2 officers.
Yeah.
Okay. Currently we have 8.
We've got 8, and that's
And-
counting 1 part-time in the SRO.
Okay, and the school officer.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's counting me also.
Okay, so we're looking for
Yeah.
2 more, which will be fully staffed.
Right. That'll be able to put us
Be able to allow 2 people on shift most of the time.
for most of it. You know, one of the things we do too is we try to do 12-hour shifts to get officers more breaks from work so that they're not overworked. You do 2 on and 2 off, 3 on, 2 off, 2 on, 3 off. I know it's kind of confusing, but every other weekend they get a 3-day weekend.
That's nice, isn't it?
Right, and so really that helps with the home
Morale.
life balance and the morale of keeping keeping your mind healthy, your mind and your body healthy, so you can think clear on calls and go into a call and you may make better decisions that way, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it gives you an opportunity to relax and refresh.
Exactly. You definitely need that in this job.
Yeah.
Because we're tried a whole lot, and we got to remain professional through everything. So.
And you have to, be, I mean, because you think about that, Chief, when you're off duty, you're kind of in that mindset all the time. And you really do need a break. I mean,
you do.
And I was a social worker, so, I was kind of in that mindset too. That's why I said you have to have some relaxation time. You can't be, because otherwise you will get burned out.
Exactly.
Officers do need, in that kind of work, you do need that break.
Exactly.
And you need to kind of wind down and get things off your mind.
Yep.
Because you face and you confront a lot of tragic things.
Yeah, exactly, and that's there's actually a class at DOCJT in Richmond now. They consider it part of your 40-hour in-service we're required to have every year, and it's a stress and wellness class. And I stress to each officer to take that class because it teaches you how to find stress relief, what not to overthink about in this job, because you can overthink everything you do in this job, and that can itself stress you out.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been there in my younger days until I actually figured out ways to get my mind off of the
decompress.
Off the things I've seen, off the things that we've had to intervene on, and that's really helped. And I stress that to each officer to take that class, just for their own personal being.
And you have to have 40 hours of in-service training every year.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's a good one to take.
Exactly.
So tell me, are there other things that you're looking at to do, or things that, I know there's always things you need.
Right.
And, but, what do you think overall about, as far as the status of our community in regard to safety and security and crime rates and...
Right. Now, when I was assistant chief and captain before that, Chief Jim Smith and I, we went to all the factories and all the schools, and we've trained them on active shooter. I'm an active shooter instructor for response. Like if somebody was to come to your place of business or work or school with a gun, what to do, and we do trainings on that.
And you'll even do those with businesses
Right.
if requested, correct?
Right. Yeah. And I'll still go meet with businesses and their security teams, churches, and we'll talk about and just go over things to refresh over what to do, what trends I'm seeing, changes and things, and.
Well, whoever would have thought we would have the situation we had
Right.
in Springfield, Kentucky at our factory,
Right.
you know, with a allegedly active shooter.
That's right. Yeah.
And it brings chills to me every time. I just can't even
Yeah.
comprehend it.
Yeah, and that's something Captain Golden and I responded to, Tony. And I'm just glad he was with me that day. He happened to be off, and another officer was on a call, and we were actually both off. I think we came in for the Thanksgiving dinner at City Hall, and the other officer was busy, and him and I decided to ride together and take care of that call. And I'm glad he was there. But
Well,
who knows
of course,
what
both of
would have
you
happened?
Received commendations
Yeah.
and awards for your alert and I'm trying to think of a description for that, but your appropriate response to the situation, which saved many lives, and so it was. I mean, those are things that you all have to now. You know, you have training on and everything.
All right.
So I know I'm glad you're being able to do that and go around and give those kinds of trainings.
Right, and we were very fortunate in that too, that everything came out the way it did. Not only did neither one of us get hurt, but the suspect never even got hurt.
Yeah.
And that's,
And
all of that's a miracle. That
right.
just the way everything played out the whole way. I mean, if you were there and could play it back in your head, it was.
It couldn't have been handled any better.
Right, if it was any, you know,
was
if I would have been a
protocol.
foot to the left or a foot back, either I would have been.
I don't.
But
yeah.
I try not to think about it
Yeah.
too much.
Well, you
but,
can't. You can,
but
or
yeah.
you might not go. You might
Exactly.
not do this job.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, the stress and wellness is a big factor in this.
Yeah.
Talk about things.
Yeah.
I stress on my officers too. If something's bothering you, come talk to me. I tell them that. Talk to me, talk to each other. Be there for each other. Because not only are we there for backup if somebody's fighting us or backup to a domestic or whatever, but we're backup for each other's mental health also. If
Yeah.
we see each other slipping or maybe getting angry at things a little too quick, then we stress each other, step in and see what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
good because
that's the
you want
biggest
your
thing I've been
office-
working on is getting all the officers' morale to where they're saying, hey, this is a place I want to work. They take care of the community, they take care of each other, and we get a lot of breaks. And
Yeah.
our pay may not be the greatest, but the way we do things here, and it works out pretty good.
Yeah.
And
And I know you all are a cohesive group,
right,
and that's really important.
right, and and I can send out a message to all the officers that says I need somebody, a couple guys to come do this. Every one of them will say I'll be there.
Yeah.
If we do a search warrant, I can send out a message and say we're getting ready to do a search warrant. And say I know everybody's coming in, and most of them just love to do it. They want to do what they can to help. But the goals I have is getting us very community involved. I want the community to trust us, to know that we're here for them. If they have a problem, they can always come talk to us. Any of the police officers. We're all very compassionate people, and really, if you got to know all of us, you'd figure out that we're just a bunch of goofballs. We love to have a good time and kid around, joke with each other. But at the end of the day, we take care of our job and our community, and know what the
take
right thing
care
to
of
do
business.
is. Yeah, and we do, and we take care of business, and then right after we take care of it, we'll be back shaking somebody's hand. But that's the thing. We want to be there for our community and our schools, and we want people to feel safe to be in Springfield.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you very much, Chief, for
Well, thank you.
being here today, and I'm really glad to hear that, and I think that's going to certainly make our citizens, our listening audience, feel safe in the Springfield, Washington County community, knowing that you're in charge and you've got these wonderful, got a good team.
That's exactly what we are. We're a team, and and it's not just me running it, but it's all of us that work together, and we all work together. That's my goal too. Is we all work together so good that it just flows. Nobody has to think, what do I have to do here? We all know if we see, like if Tony sees me doing something, then one of the other officers that sees us, they know where to step in without having to say a word. So and that's the thing. We work together. We train together, and we spend more time with each other than we do our own family sometimes. But but it's okay.
But you're a team.
Exactly.
Well, thank you very much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
And come have a cup of coffee with me anytime.
I will.
I'm always willing to do that.
I'm going to invite everybody else to.
Exactly.